it wasn't until I started practicing and I was realizing that so many ladies were coming to see me because they wanted to get pregnant, but more so that so many of them were getting pregnant who weren't even trying. And we were like, what the heck? Why is this happening so much? Because I was addressing their own body's physiology to work the way that it's designed to work. And wow, fancy that when your body works the way it's supposed to, it's fertile.
Welcome back to the Essentially You podcast, all about reinventing your health with safer, cheaper, more effective natural solutions and powerful lifestyle changes so that you become the CEO of your health. I am your host, Dr. Marisa Snyder. Did you know that every woman is born with 1 million eggs? By puberty, the number of eggs have decreased to 300,000, and this number will continue to decline over time. But surprisingly, you are still rocking a good number of eggs at 40 and beyond, and especially in your 30s. So if you're 40 like me, or over 40 and worried that you might have started trying to conceive a little too late, you will be pleased to hear in 2015, the fertility rate for women aged 40 and over rose above the rate of women aged under 20 for the first time in nearly 70 years. Can I get a yes, yes? If you have been told that after 35, there are causes for concern when it comes to fertility, I want you to know that it's all about focusing on egg quality and happy hormones. And guess what? I have got you covered today. And before we dive into this interview with one of my besties, Dr. Lowe, who is a rocking fertility doctor with 99% success rate in getting women pregnant, I want to quickly speak to the importance of fertility for each of us during childbearing years. Did you know that our fertility is one of the most important gauges in our overall health, especially in our 30s and 40s? As you've heard me share on previous episodes, the health of our menstrual cycle and hormones are a key indicator of our overall health and vitality. Our menstrual cycle is literally a fifth vital sign for us as women, and suppressing our menstrual cycle is one of the most detrimental things that we can do for our health and most importantly for our fertility. Our menstrual cycle is not something that should be turned off or suppressed. Working with our natural cycle is how we create true healing inside of the body. Now, I am really excited for this interview with Dr. Lauren today because even within my friend group, most of my closest friends and colleagues have decided to wait to start a family, and many of my friends are getting pregnant at 37, 39, 40 years old, and beyond. And some of you know, my husband and I are trying to conceive at this time, like literally right now, and I will be releasing an episode later on in the spring to update you on our journey to starting a family. And lastly, I have a lot of amazing listeners, maybe even you right this very second, who want to know how to ensure that they are healthy and fertile in case they do decide to start a family. Now, before I invite Dr. Lowe on, I have a special surprise for you today. As a way to set you up for success during and after this interview, I have the perfect cheat sheet for you that features my top 5 favorite hormone blends for overall hormone regulation, brain fog, PMS, fatigue, mood swings, calming that mental chatter, anxiety. I have got you covered inside and out. This is an easy and effective cheat sheet, and it's a great tool for supporting your hormones and fertility. So you can grab it by heading on over to the show notes for episode 164, or you can just go to drmarisa.com/episode 164, and it'll be right there at the bottom where all the links are for this show. So now that you have access to this amazing resource, a resource that I use all the time, I want to take a moment and celebrate you. Every single day, I am blessed to hear from new listeners who are recommended by you. One such listener was Lori Howard. She reached out to me on Instagram, which, by the way, so many of you do. So thank you so much for the Instagram love and shout outs. But here's what Lori had to say today. Dr. Marisa, you were so dead on in your episode on the liver. I finally figured out that I had estrogen dominance last year after my doctor just kept telling me it was menopause and trying to give me estrogen for my symptoms. but it just wasn't adding up, and you are my first resource to turn to. I listened to your liver episode and bam, I knew that I was dealing with too much estrogen by not supporting my liver. I adopted the changes that you shared, and my heavy bleeding slowed down a lot, my bloating is gone, and my breast tenderness is almost completely gone. Plus, I know it's protecting me from estrogen-driven cancer, which runs in my family. I hope you can cover more of this on the show. Well, Lori, thank you so much for your epic discovery and win. I am so happy to shout you out today, and I am so glad that you're loving your liver, and I'm so glad that you listened to your own intuition that said that something wasn't right. It's that intuition that we've got to connect into that really guides us on our path towards true healing. I love that you are loving up on your liver. I know I'm going to be loving up on my liver this month and next month. These are 2 big liver months for me. I'm hosting a big live group detox group where the liver is center stage. So I'm going to be doing it with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people very soon. So if you're listening, Lori, I would love to gift you a signed copy of my EO Hormone Solution book with all kinds of Love Your Liver recommendations and a personal note from me. Just reach out to me on Facebook or definitely on Instagram where we connected at Dr. Marisa, and I will send you that book ASAP. Now, if you are listening, number one, welcome to this show. This podcast is all about giving you the answers that you deserve about your health, and if it's helped you in any way, I would be honored to shout you out too. You can reach out to me via Instagram, Facebook, or that gold standard, which is reviewing the podcast on iTunes or whatever podcast platform you love to plug into. That way, together, we are changing the way women think about their bodies and empowering them with the knowledge to become the CEO of their health. Let's jump on in to this amazing conversation with Dr. Lowe. But before I bring her on, I want to quickly sing her praises. Dr. Laura Noel, aka Dr. Lowe, is a licensed naturopathic doctor and an expert in natural medicine. Her areas of expertise include fertility, thyroid, hormone health, digestive disorders, and autoimmune conditions. She is a frequent lecturer on health radio shows, and she is the host of Dr. Lowe Radio, a top podcast on iTunes. It is amazing, and I've been so blessed to be on it myself. She is the owner of Shine Natural Medicine in Solano Beach, California, where she treats patients locally and all over the country. I am a patient at Shine Natural Medicine. I'm actually going to be there tomorrow, and I just love being under Dr. Laura Noel's care. So let's bring on one of my dearest friends. Welcome to the Essentially You podcast, Dr. Laura Noel. How are you doing, honey?
I'm good. What's up, girl? Good to be
Lauren,
here.
I can't believe you have not been on the show yet.
I know.
We were just talking about that.
It's sad. What happened?
You're one of my practitioners for one, but you are one of my, when it comes to fertility questions that friends of mine have, I send them to you. You are one of the, my go-to fertility experts in the nation. So I'm so excited to shine a bright light on you today because this isn't my area of expertise. This is your area of expertise. I get a lot of questions and I just send them off, headed to you.
Well, anything about oils, I just send them to you. So
perfect.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
It really is. It is. We're talking about fertility after 30 because let's be honest, girl, a lot of women today are having children after 30, even into their 40s. And a lot of us want to know not only for potentially having babies and procreating, but also I understand and I know just like you do, that for just having good fertility is an indicator of great overall health. But I know often we want fertility because we are trying to get pregnant. So I'm really excited to talk about that. Now, before we get into fertility after 30, I want to have you just share a little bit about not only your expertise as being a fertility expert for some time, for a while now, but also you are a new mama.
I am.
You had a baby after 30.
I did. Yeah.
Yes,
I just turned 39 too. Yeah. So, I never really planned on specializing in fertility. Matter of fact, in medical school, I kind of just tuned out when it had anything to do with fertility or pregnancy or anything. Cause I didn't really think I would do that. I figured I would, kind of work on menopausal or maybe, girls dealing with bad periods, stuff like that. But it wasn't until I started practicing and I was realizing that so many ladies were coming to see me because they wanted to get pregnant, but more so that so many of them were getting pregnant who weren't even trying. And we were like, what the heck? Why is this happening so much? Because I was addressing their own body's physiology to work the way that it's designed to work. And wow, fancy that when your body works the way it's supposed to, it's fertile. So it's like, it was the coolest thing. This was happening so much. And so then a lot of my focus clinically started to shift in working with fertility patients, both with couples and for the women, obviously. So that was pretty cool. And I was myself personally, I was never one of those that knew I was born to be a mom. Like that wasn't me. I knew I was born to travel. I knew I was born to learn, to be a nerd. Like I always liked being in school. Oddly, I loved being in school. I loved being in medical school. Like I'm one of those. I'm like chomping at the bit because I want to be a student somewhere. Like I want to enroll in something. Like I like doing that kind of stuff. But once I hit my probably mid 30s, I was like, okay, I need to get pregnant. Like I want to be a mom. So, my boyfriend and I, we were not planning on getting pregnant, but it happened. And what's cool is that for myself and also my friend Elizabeth, I was telling you about before we started recording, that's my nutritionist. She is who worked with me on our fertility course called Golden Eggs. I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point, but both Elizabeth and I both got pregnant while making this course because we just did all the things that we were researching about. We're like, well, we know we want to get pregnant at some point in our life, so we might as well just do the things that helps with fertility. Well, we both freaking got pregnant making the course, which is hilarious.
I love it because it's such a testament to how amazing the course is, but also a testament to, how you can really act as if and gear your body up for getting pregnant for conception. And it's what you both did. I know that she was excited to get pregnant. And I knew that you were trying to get the body ready. And man, was it? It was so ready for that. I remember you came to my birthday party and told me.
We both had issues that were very clear reasons that we probably shouldn't expect to get pregnant. For myself, I had a history of hypothyroidism and PCOS. And for Elizabeth, she actually had tried to get pregnant naturally and was told from a fertility clinic that she should not even try IVF because she probably won't get pregnant. She was diagnosed with premature menopause at 28 years old. So both of us were not like fertility candidates and we both got pregnant naturally. So, I mean, yeah, of course it could be a coincidence. Do I think it is? No, I think it's just the power of natural medicine and really just the power of our own bodies. All of us are designed to be healthy and designed to be fertile. And yeah, there can be little genetic things that can happen, but most cases, and there's even, research showing this, that many times actually was over 50% of the time when women get IVF, they actually could have conceived naturally. It's just that the root cause of their quote unquote infertility was never found.
Hmm. I absolutely believe that. And I also do believe that it should be a cornerstone of everything that we want, even if we're not trying to get pregnant. Having high levels of fertility really demonstrates it's an indicator of how healthy we are, just like our menstrual cycle is quite an indicator of how healthy we are. And so we shouldn't be trying to turn that off even if we're not trying to get pregnant. We always want to be fertile because again, it really demonstrates how healthy our bodies truly are. Like if we're healthy enough to get pregnant, that's a good place for us to be.
Right, exactly. As you're talking, I'm thinking like when it comes to fertility, there's probably like three like facets to it. One of them we can't really control, but two we can. So one would be like the number of eggs that we have. Two would be the health of the eggs, and then three would be the health of the soil. So like when I'm talking about the soil, I'm talking about like the uterus and the fallopian tubes and, the health of the actual, reproductive organs. And then, like the first one I said that you can't obviously control the amount of eggs that you have, But the health of the egg, so the second one you can control, that's where I really like to focus on is 2 and 3 is the health of the eggs and also the health of the soil. That's where natural medicine really does well. And that's where, reproductive clinics don't do anything for that, like at all. They don't do anything for either of those. I mean, for the most part. And it's so sad. And that's where I'm like, okay, this is really where I can make a big difference. That's where my fertility course is based on it's called golden eggs. I mean, the whole point is the health of the eggs or the health of the sperm, which I call golden swimmers because it sounds better than golden sperm. But actually, I think golden sperm
Golden
sounds kind of
swimmers.
fun. But,
I like golden swimmers a lot.
golden swimmers is so cute. But, there's this golden window, like about a 3 to 4 month period for men and for women, where what they do or don't do significantly affects the health of the egg and the health of the sperm that's going to be used for that particular, hopefully
That conception. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they meet up, let's talk a
They
little
meet
bit about
up
that. Yes.
and hang out for life.
And hang out for life. Exactly. Real quick before we get into what we can do to boost fertility, especially for women. I know we're talking about men as well, like, because I know it takes two to tango, right? The fact that we keep putting the burden on the women, because clearly we are the fertilizer, doesn't mean that that sperm, the golden swimmers aren't playing a role here. And I would love to talk a little bit about that. But before we do that real quick, there's a common misconception. There's so much confusion around this. And the question is how long is a woman really fertile? Because, we're told after the age of 35, now it's high risk pregnancy, or it's, we are geriatric pregnancy,
I
just a
hate that.
lot of
It's a like
yucky.
drop kick in the face.
Exactly.
That
Whoever's
term.
saying that. And, when I was doing so much research around even this episode and just for women over the years, like every article on the interwebs is, you're talking about a really old pregnancy after 35 and then the high risk of miscarriage and just negative, 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 negative. And I just really want you to kind of clear the air on this and what's actually possible.
Right. Exactly. Well, the thing is that if you flip the stats, there's actually a higher chance that it's going to work out than it not working out. It's just that when you do get over 30 and especially over 35 and especially over 40, the chances of not getting pregnant and the chances of having a miscarriage, those do go up, they do change. So, yeah, but also the chances of getting pregnant and having your baby still is higher than it not happening. That's the thing. Like, you still have a high chance of getting pregnant and staying pregnant. So, I mean, when it comes to really where I tend to dance is in the arena of what I was saying is the health of the eggs and the health of the soil. So that's where you can really make a massive difference for a woman, how that goes. And really, like, I'm sure we'll talk about egg freezing at some point and all of that, but the biggest difference you can make is in that area is the health of the eggs and then the health of the soil and really focusing on optimizing hormones. Like for a woman who's over 35, as soon as she gets pregnant, I just put her on progesterone right away. There's just things like little tricks you can do just to help kind of support a woman if she's a little bit older. So I just really try to kind of dispel the anxiety and like the doom and gloom that, oh my God, I'm this age, so I'm like cursed in the fertility department. And that's just not
Not
how it
true at
goes.
all. I mean, I cannot tell you how many friends of ours, I mean, I will, well, that's most of my friends have had children over the age of 35. So a lot of my friends are practitioners. They've created careers. They've had these big visions. Like it's just a very different way of looking at things. So for me, I've only always been surrounded by women who are older and who've gotten pregnant. So that's just the world I know. And so for me, it's always been normality. I'm like, oh yeah, like I can name 25 different women who have been between the ages of 35 and 43 who've gotten pregnant in the last 5 or 6
Right.
years. Yeah.
Right.
So
Exactly.
let's talk about those eggs, girl. Let's talk about, okay, so number one, we know that we all have a certain amount of eggs and there's not a lot that we can do necessarily about that. At least right at the moment that we know about. But how do we take care of, boost, create beautiful, healthy golden eggs with the eggs that we got?
It's a really good question. Yeah. So the amount of eggs we have is kind of what we have, whereas men can make sperm as women, we have the eggs and that's what we got. So when we're born, we have about 1 million eggs per ovary at birth. And then that, drops as we get older. And as about 13 years old, we have about 300,000. And then by the time we're about my age, so I'm about, 39, we have about 25,000 at that point. And then at menopause, there's about 1,000 per ovary. So, there's still a lot in there. That's the thing. Like, it's like, yeah, if you compare to 1 million at birth, not very many, but there's still a lot of eggs left. And it's really about the quality of the eggs. So right now, there's not a direct test to check egg quality. Not like there is checking sperm quality. Obviously, that's really easy.
Ain't that something? Because I'm pretty sure. Let me just make sure this is correct, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure we're the ones bringing life into this earth. Is that correct?
It's true.
Just checking.
Yes, it's true. It's really just kind of like watch and wait what the eggs do, and that sort of tells you if they're good quality or not. But I mean, I really feel like the way that I check for egg quality indirectly is by doing thorough testing of the rest of the body, looking and seeing, do you have any deficiencies? Because the eggs are connected to your body. They're in your body, so if you eat a lot of inflammatory fats, chances are that the liquid that the eggs are suspended in will have inflammatory fats in there. I mean, it's directly connected. It's crazy. So I like, for me, the way that I like to check for the egg quality is doing tests, looking at omega-3 levels. I like to look at deficiencies. I like to look at inflammation levels, checking to see if there's things like that happening, because that is going to tell me about the health of the eggs.
That makes so much sense. And so let's say I am thinking about getting pregnant. And let's say I'm thinking about, 3 months from now, we want to start trying, or let's just say I know that at 35 or older, at any age, really, we're just being exposed to a lot of toxins. We're being exposed to a lot of crap. And I just want to give my body a little bit of time to gear up for conception. Let's say I'm being very mindful. And I think today, so often, many of us are planning for it. Not always. I mean, I know that sometimes it just happens, especially when you're building courses where you teach people how to get pregnant. It can happen. So what should I be looking at? Should I be increasing my water intake, my probiotics? Should I be bumping up my omega? Should I be taking a prenatal at that point?
That's a good question. So I'm thinking so there's sort of different tiers that you guys could go about it if you wanted to, to really like do this. If you were strongly thinking, I want to get pregnant in like 3 months. So regardless of which way you want to go about doing it, I would highly encourage you that if you want to get pregnant in about 3 months, that you strongly try not to get pregnant during this process, because you're preparing your body for it. So like, give yourself that window. That said, if you got pregnant, it's not the end of the world, obviously, but really try to give yourself a bit of a window. So I'd say like the tier 1 would be sort of like basics, like do it real basic. And that's like removing the things that are causing inflammation. So removing sugar, you want to remove alcohol, and you want to remove stimulants like coffee. And you absolutely want to remove smoking, both cannabis and also whatever the other one.
The other one, cigarettes.
Cigarettes.
The nasty one.
Yeah, tobacco. So I was thinking. So removing those things.
Eggs don't like tobacco, I guess. I'm assuming.
Yeah, like tobacco. So I was thinking. So yeah, removing those things, and then you want to add in the good stuff. So eat organically. And there is research showing that it does significantly change the health of the eggs and also the health of the sperm within just like 3 months if you eat organic. So that would be sort of tier 1. That's like basic. If you just want to like do the basics, do that, and that will make a difference. And do it for a solid 3 months, like minimum. I would say tier 2 would be if you wanted to do that. So that's like you still do those things. And then I would say get the Golden Eggs course. That's where you could do it from anywhere. You can learn a lot of more kind of how to step up the fertility. What are some basic supplements you can do from home? Stuff like that. And I'll go over some of those. So in case you guys don't want to do the course, but I feel like that would really help. And that's for women and for couples. And I'd say the next level up would be doing those things, but then actually being a patient where you can get labs done. You can get your hormones checked. You can get deficiencies checked, your thyroid, and like really kind of get the hand holding through it. And I feel like that, I mean, I just feel like that's the way to do it, because then you are very like targeted with what your body needs. that for sure helps the how quick I think that you can get pregnant, because, when you have all the different deficiencies addressed, your body's working the way that it's supposed to. Fertility just happens as a byproduct. It happens faster. The miscarriage rate would be lower. You'd bounce back easier because you're going to have deficiencies addressed through your pregnancy. So that would be kind of a way to like do it ninja style, but at the very least, do the basics for sure. I mean, everyone could probably use that every few months, doing sort of a detox like that. But, in terms of what we know that can boost fertility in the research, like what we know that can help with egg quality, CoQ10, that's something that both men and women can do between 100 and 300 milligrams. And that is one that I have in my fertility course. There's also omega-3s, absolutely. So taking a good fish oil. This is something I love testing for people to actually see, do you have enough? Do you need more? But most people need about 3,000 milligrams of total omega-3s. So those things we know definitely can. NAC, so it stands for N-acetylcysteine. So both for men and for women, can help improve egg and sperm quality. Royal jelly actually has been shown in the research to help with that as well. So royal jelly is something, hopefully you can get it from a local source, probably if it's like a smoothie, and I know it can also help with libido as well. So Vitex, so also known as chaste tree. Vitex is a plant that can help with ovulation. It also can be helpful for people who have a low LH, which is a hormone that we can test for. So those are some of the basics. Definitely vitamin D, folic acid or folate. Those would be some basics for sure. Sleep is like, in terms of lifestyle wise, decreasing stress and increasing your sleep. By far, if there's one thing to take from this whole episode, it's probably that, is decreasing your stress and increasing your sleep, like truly. Because for so many of us women, we're just depleted. We're walking around with our little batteries on E. All we need is a little boost. This whole time, all we needed was a boost. So
sometimes it feels like a big boost,
right?
We
We
always
need a big boost.
And definitely, I mean, you think about stress and how it completely messes up our circadian rhythms, but we're not doing ourselves any favor by staying up later, by being in our phones. None of those things are helping us, and it completely throws our rhythm, because we're cyclical. We are cyclical every day. We're cyclical monthly. We're cyclical multiple times in our lifetime. I mean, women in particular, we've got to just be so mindful about how our bodies run on our biological and our circadian clocks.
It's really true. It so is. And I feel like for any woman listening who wants to get pregnant, you have to learn how to be comfortable with pressing the no button. Because when you press no to stuff, you're saying yes to your body just like melting and relaxing. And all of that is needed for your fertility. So, I have a near 100% success rate. The one patient that, didn't end up getting pregnant, she was just this really, really busy lawyer and just wasn't cutting the hours down, and just working like crazy. And she never did get pregnant. And I just wonder sometimes, like, how much of that could have been different if she just had relaxed more, and then women go on a vacation and it's like they get pregnant because they're chilling out and they're not even trying at that point. Right.
That's so true. I mean, I think, if we're going to make space for the energy to make a baby, which is such an energetic process, your body has to know it's okay. You got to give your body permission to say, all right, we're good to go.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, if you're so busy that you are just burning the candle at both ends, perhaps the best way your body can protect you is by not getting pregnant. Right? I mean, you get pregnant and it's like all of it falls apart because your body is barely holding on right now. So it's just, I feel like the body's really smart and it's going to protect itself. And if you're not in a place to get pregnant, it's not going to, it's going to protect you by not actually getting pregnant. It's funny too. It's like, you're looking at the research, exercise, for example, it's actually better to under exercise a little bit than to over exercise when it comes to fertility. It's better to be a little bit overweight than underweight. Isn't that funny? It's like, it's better to be a little bit, kind of on the curvier side and a little bit lazy than too thin and too like go. So
Absolutely. Well, with exercise, is thinking CrossFit, or you thinking about tense exercise where people end up getting like they lose ovulation or the ability to ovulate. It's because exercise. I love exercise, and I know you do too. And I've been exercising my whole life, but it's a stressor. And the reason why it's a benefit is it's a stressor on the system in a good way. But if you overdo it, absolutely, you're going to find yourself in a situation with the inability to ovulate. Like you may lose that. And then it's just survival. A lot of other species on the planet as well, when they're in survival mode, it's not a safe space to make a baby. And your body kind of makes that decision. I mean, there's an intelligence that we really have to honor. And we really do have to honor the if indeed we're really choosing into getting pregnant and choosing into fertility, it's just about honoring our bodies overall. That's what it comes down to, whether you want to get pregnant or not.
right. Absolutely. Yeah. The body is doing what it's supposed to. We just got to give it what it needs and support it.
Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the golden swimmers, because I have a feeling that guys can't eat hydrogenated french fries and smoke and drink martinis every night and expect that their golden swimmers are going to be swimming at peak capacity. Like, you could have a lot of swimmers, but it doesn't mean they're moving anywhere.
It's so wild how men have such a huge ability to affect the health of their sperm, like really quickly, actually. I mean, in just a couple of months, I mean, the health of the swimmers in how they actually swim, how fast, how, which direction they go, basically how smart they are. You can
Yeah.
determine that by your
We
lifestyle.
want smart swimmers. We do not want duds.
Right. We don't want some duds.
We don't want duds getting to the egg.
It's like, I always laugh when I think of this. It's like the Homer Simpson sperm. If you like
Oh
Google
my
Homer Simpson
gosh.
sperm, you'll see it's like
So
he has this
good.
big Homer Simpson head with the tail on it. And there's
We don't want
double-headed
those.
sperm. There are
Yeah.
some crazy sperm out there.
Well, I mean, you're cranking that much, that many golden swimmers at any given time. There's destined to be mishaps.
It's
But
true.
we know that toxins have a huge impact on the quality of sperm as well, equally such.
Yep, absolutely. As well as infrared exposures, temperatures, if men are in the sauna, or if they're, just in hot environments, or their cell phones in their pockets, all those things have been found to significantly decrease sperm count.
hmm So men should act as if too. So basically, men don't get a pass. If I'm acting as if, Alex has got to act as if too. Like
Yeah,
we
well,
both got
the
to be on the same
research
page.
shows 30 to 50% of the time when there's an issue with fertility happening, it's due to the male factors. So at least 30% of the time, and up to half the time, it's due to the male factors. That's a lot. So yeah, I really want, people to know that, because it's just so common where women beat themselves up like they're the problem. And a lot of times it's the guy. And a lot of times it's something that can be easily fixed. So, so for men, a lot of really, it's common where the same nutrients that work for the health of the eggs also work for the health of the sperm. So like CoQ10, I talked about, NAC, omega 3s, so just a lot of the antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin A, those are nutrients that when they're depleted, then free radicals can run rampant, and free radicals can really target those tissues for men and for women. So that's just a common theme. It's like, you don't have to like memorize every single one. If you just know like what happens to those areas, then you can have a general idea of what kind of nutrients would help. So if it's an area that's really affected by free radicals, then chances are the antioxidants are going to be very protective. And it turns out that is the case for the reproductive areas too.
That makes so much sense. So guys, definitely be just as mindful as women, especially during getting ready. If you guys are both trying to get
hmm
pregnant.
Especially the organic diets. I know that there's actual studies that showed that men who ate organically significantly cleaned up their sperm. It's just so cool.
I love that. That's so
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly.
Definitely huge fan of nutrient dense organic foods, not just for the health of our fertility, but overall everything. It's a good direction to go for all of us.
Absolutely. 100%. And it's like, it's so cool because you make these changes to help improve sperm health or egg health, but the side effect is you feel better, you have better energy, you're focused, like less pain, you sleep better, all this stuff. Because what you're doing is you're decreasing inflammation, you're increasing antioxidants, increasing nutrients to the body. It's like an all or nothing thing. It's your whole body or it's not.
Right, absolutely. Well, and it's a win-win too. Like you're taking care of yourself. Like you said at the very, very beginning, that it's amazing if you are just taking care of yourself and you're looking at whatever root cause may be driving something and you're able to address that out the gate. No surprise at all that a side effect of that is that you've become very fertile and that you're able to get pregnant.
Right. Exactly. And that you're more likely to stay pregnant too. That's the other thing. It's like, it's not just get pregnant at all costs, because the health of the embryo can determine, like the chances of you keeping it. So, I mean, one thing I remember learning that was pretty wild is that when his sperm has like chromosomal problems that can come from certain deficiencies or certain toxins that he's been exposed to, and that impregnates a woman, that actually can increase the chance of her having a miscarriage. Isn't it crazy that women can have a miscarriage, have a higher risk based on the health of the sperm? It's like, I don't know. It's like when I learned that, you just think that once she's pregnant, it's kind of hers at that point and nothing is affected by the guy, but it's not the case, turns out.
Well, I mean, and you think about so often we don't necessarily always know what the reason is for a miscarriage. And when you ask your doctor, they're like, well, it was probably chromosomal issues. It was probably genetic issues.
Right.
Like, yeah. And absolutely it could have come from either the egg or the sperm or the, maybe that they have to come together and then start doing their thing. There could have been a miscommunication at that point. So I guess I'm not super surprised that, again, it takes two to tango. We're hoping that both male and female are bringing in the best genes to create that baby. So that makes so much sense. You did mention, it's one thing to get pregnant, which is amazing. But you and I, we were speaking about this before we started, and I knew we weren't really going to go down this direction, but you and I both know that women absolutely have miscarriages. And sometimes there's nothing we can do about it. I know sometimes there are just things we can always do to kind of help to bolster. Those first 3 months can feel like such a nail biting time, because that's usually so often, if indeed a miscarriage happens, it happens during that period. And goodness knows I've had so many friends who've had multiple miscarriages or at least one miscarriage, and we're just praying through that entire 3 months that everything was good to go. And maintaining a pregnancy is its own beautiful process. And one of the things you mentioned is we know how important progesterone is in that first trimester as well. Any other little techniques or strategies? I mean, clearly there's foods that we want to be mindful of. We want to make sure that we're continuing to get rest. Definitely, focus on that self-care, such a big part of it. Maybe depending on what age you're at, a little bit of natural progesterone cannot hurt because you're needing so much of it at that time. Anything else I'm missing, once we get the news that we should be doing?
Really just progesterone and rest. I think if you can just rest as much as you can and just not stress, and get that progesterone in check. I think those are the three things that really help to kind of be that glue in the first trimester. But most of the time, if you're going to have a miscarriage, it's just because genetically it wasn't a match. And, almost always that's going to be the case. It's really nothing that you could have done. That's why I feel like if you do have a miscarriage, even if you use the progesterone, it was then not a hormone thing. But, progesterone naturally goes down in the mid 30s. So that's the only reason that for a woman that's mid 30s or beyond, I usually just have her go on it anyway, just for the first trimester, and then she can stop.
Absolutely. Well, and that's, and I just had an episode, I'll be having more episodes, just understanding, around 35 or so ish. And I mean, goodness knows there's a lot of reasons why women have low progesterone issues. I've had low progesterone concerns for a bunch of different reasons, low progesterone because of this, low progesterone because of this. And then naturally, very few of us understand that actually it's just a natural progress that we're going to start a decline of progesterone before
It's
other
true.
hormones.
It is true though, but stress is the biggest depleter for sure. And I feel like, women who have a lot of stress in their 20s and early 30s, like me, for example, or any doctor for that matter, they tend to have more so of a deficiency. So the less stress, the more
More
progesterone you can
progesterone you
make.
get.
Yeah,
You don't
exactly.
steal it. That's so true. You don't steal it. Now, I want to just shift the conversation. I know today we're talking a lot about how to maintain these beautiful, healthy eggs and how to keep our bodies healthy and fertile through natural means. But there are exceptions where we are in a situation where either we're not ovulating, maybe PCOS is so bad, and goodness knows, I know that there are beautiful solutions for PCOS, or just for some reason you were on birth control for 15 years and your period never came back. So, when should we even think about or consider freezing our eggs?
Yeah. Well, it's a really good question. I mean, taking the freezing the eggs topic off the table for a second, just in terms of like when you should look into some help, like if you've been trying and something isn't happening. So if you're under 35, that's when you hit about a year. You've been trying, then it's like, okay, then it's time to look into something. That's kind of classically sort of infertility, reproductive world. That's what's recommended. And if you're over 35, then that would go down to 6 months. So, but in my opinion, if you want to go down that fertility road, I think you should work with a naturopathic doctor like myself, or fertility or a functional medicine doctor, and do that right off the bat. Of course, not everyone does that, but I think that's how it should go.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, ideally that's what you're going to be doing. Now, in terms of like freezing eggs, that's a whole nother topic, because people tend to think, well, when it's time, I'm just going to freeze my eggs, and then I have this like insurance thing and I can just use them whenever I want. And unfortunately, that's really not the case. For one, the chance of getting the eggs to, freeze properly, and then to be able to thaw them and then transfer them properly, and actually getting like, an embryo and be able to actually deliver the baby to birth, I mean, it's a lot lower in the chances than people think. So I remember reading some research. It was a 2016 study in Spain, and they looked at, it was 137 women who had frozen eggs that had been thawed, and they each had at least 10 eggs that had been frozen. And the chances of them giving birth to, a live birth was 29% only. It was only 29% of those ladies were able to give birth. So wouldn't you think it would be higher?
Hmm.
Right? I would
There's
think.
a lot, I think what it is there's already a lot of factors in trying to get pregnant. And I know sometimes we think you could just sneeze and get pregnant. Goodness knows, that's what my grandma told me when I was a little girl. You just sneeze, Marisa, and it's over. You're
Yeah.
going to get pregnant. And it's not how that works. Ovulation window is 24 hours. Anyone who's tried to get pregnant, your basal temperature. There's so much stuff that you're doing to look out for it. It's trying to plan that perfect moment. It's not as easy as just getting sneezed on.
Yeah.
I wish that was the case.
Exactly. I mean,
And
really the best thing you can do is start to understand when you do ovulate, because every woman is different. Even if you have like a normal 28-day cycle, it doesn't mean you ovulate on day 14 every cycle. So knowing like the different clues that your body gives you of when you're ovulating is really helpful to know. Doing that, and then knowing, like I said, if you can work with someone like a naturopathic doctor, and see what deficiencies you have and address that. I feel like that, and keeping your toxin load as low as you can, like that, those things combined is the best thing that you can do for your fertility, hands down. And also too, with that said, let's say you did want to freeze your eggs, still do those things first, because that's going to polish them up and clean them up before you freeze them. You want to freeze healthy eggs. So still do the prep work even before you freeze them or before you do IVF.
yes, absolutely. And I think what I was just meaning is that, there's just so many factors even in getting pregnant naturally. You quadruple those factors, external factors that we don't think of or consider when you freeze eggs. With that said, I'm still grateful that we live in a time where that's a possibility versus even several decades ago where that wasn't even on the table. And so I'm so grateful that you kind of gave us both perspectives here, because we do know that infertility treatments can get very expensive. And
That's the thing.
yeah,
That's why I brought it up. I don't want to burst anyone's bubble, but I want people to know that you don't want to be like kind of a victim to medicine, like thinking like, oh, this is what I'm going to do, and it's actually not going to work out for you. I mean, it definitely could, but and then also too, infertility, like doing IVF. I mean, that's like 20 grand to do a one round of IVF. So it's up there, it's up there. So yeah.
when I think in the general conversation, or at least what I wanted to really emphasize, again, is this indication of a healthy body. We really just, ultimately, Dr. Lauren and I just really want you to be healthy. And being fertile for as long as possible means you are as healthy as you can be for as long as possible. It truly is one of the best indicators of health for us as women. And I think we've come into a society and a world where, we're really being pushed and marketed to, well, if you're not trying to get pregnant, well, let's just turn it all off. Let's just put you on hormonal birth control. And we devalue the importance of the health of our menstrual cycle. We're devaluing how it's interconnected with the health of the rest of our body. And I want to just shift that conversation in a big way and tell you that being fertile is a big win at any given time, whether you're trying to get pregnant or not.
Yeah, totally.
Anything else you want to share? Like, I know we've covered the general gist of things. Is there anything that we're missing in this conversation today? Goodness knows it's such a big conversation.
I really just want any woman listening who's over 30 and who is, maybe you're not actively trying to get pregnant, but you kind of feel your clock ticking. It's a really good time to do some of the groundwork. Prepare your body for when that time comes. It's like, if you build it, he will come, right? It's like,
so true.
Prepare your body for what it is that you want to create, and health for yourself is just a natural side effect. So, and also too, for you who are listening, who have been trying to get pregnant, it's not happening. I want you to feel encouragement and I want you to feel peace, because a lot of times it's something really simple. And even if you've seen a lot of different people, a lot of times it's still something really simple. I don't know if you know Jenna Kutcher. Do you know who the Jenna Kutcher is?
I do. Mm-hmm.
So she's a friend, but also a patient. And she had 2 miscarriages and had seen all these different people and yada, yada, nothing was working. And I tested her, and she had a severe gluten allergy. And, that's the thing is, like, it may seem basic, but if you have a severe allergy to something you're eating like all the time, I mean, she would tout herself as the, mac and cheese queen. It's like, when you eat that food on a regular basis, it causes a lot of inflammation, a lot of irritation in your system, and you end up not absorbing the other nutrients you need. And remember, your eggs are very sensitive to inflammation. So it does, significantly impair your fertility, even something as simple as that. So she removed it, finally got pregnant, was able to carry her baby to term. And, and I'm sure I'll be getting a call pretty soon for baby number 2. But I just want anyone listening who may feel discouraged and feel like your body is quote unquote broken, just know that your body's not. And there's a reason. You just got to kind of look into it and see what the reason could be. So yeah, I just want everyone to feel really encouraged and feel excited about their fertility. I want everyone to feel at peace about their fertility and just feel really empowered, like they understand how their bodies work, what can be done to help improve things, and just giving you a peace of mind, because your bodies are amazing and they're miracles, and they're designed to be healthy, and they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, absolutely. They absolutely know what they're doing. There's so much intelligence there, especially for us as women. I know that you have a beautiful freebie for us, which is, I believe it's the 3 ways to supercharge your fertility.
Yes, this is a webinar that I did with Elizabeth, my nutritionist, and that's I don't know if I said this while we were recording it before, but both Elizabeth and I both got pregnant while making this course. So the 2 of us are giving this webinar. So that's for free for you guys. And then I'm also extending a special deal to your listeners only. You can get 20% off the Golden Eggs fertility course. So that's a 6-week fertility longevity program. So it's really geared towards teaching you how to boost your fertility now and also elongate it as long as you can. If you're one of those that you don't want to get pregnant right now, but at some point soon you want to, this is like perfect for you. Or if you feel like, maybe you want to prepare for baby number 2, it's a great option for you too. So it's for women and for couples, and it's 6 weeks. So it goes into fertility nutrition, there's fertility detox, what supplements I recommend. And I also go into, if you do decide to get IVF, what are supportive things you can do for that, how to track your cycles. There's also a portion for the golden swimmers for the guys. So the discount, I think we said we'll do Dr. Mariza. So DrMariza at checkout, and you can get your discount on that. So, and then the website is goldeneggsfertility.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I have all the goodies. And then they can also, where is the best place to find you, to learn more about you,
Well, I'm on Insta. I never called it Insta before, but I
I
just
called
said that
Insta
now.
all the time.
I know. I think it's because you say it. So I'm there, Dr. Lowe. So it's DOCTOR_LO. So I'm there. And then my practice is Shine Natural Medicine. So I'm there on Instagram on there as well. And then shinenaturalmedicine.com. And I work with patients here in San Diego and then all over the country, really, because of my podcast that I have, people from all over, out of state, they'll hear me and then want to do appointments. So I can work with people that way too.
Well, I'm in the office tomorrow.
Woo-hoo!
I'm super excited to be in the office tomorrow. You guys, she is just absolutely amazing. And thank you so much for being so generous, girl. Thank you so much for generous with your time.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. I love your show. I was telling you this before we recorded. I love your show. I think you did an amazing job. So I love being a guest. I feel very special.
Honey.
So
oh my gosh. So blessed. See you soon. See you tomorrow.
Okay.
Bye, Ann. Whoa. So much to unpack in this interview with Dr. Lauren, but the most important thing to walk away with is hope and a deep knowing that you are fully supported by me and functional doctors who have a deep understanding that your body is ripe for healing miracles. Honoring your body with healing food, supplementation, deep restful sleep, and self-care rituals is always a win, no matter what the goal is. Whether you are looking for support with your hormones, you're looking for support around fertility, or you just want to experience more vibrant energy throughout the day. Now, if you want to dive deeper into the tools and resources that Dr. Lowe has for you when it comes to boosting fertility and creating those golden eggs, I will have the links for the program and her webinar in the show notes so that you can dive right in. I will also have my top 5 hormone blend cheat sheet available for you to grab super easy so you can start just loving up on yourself and loving up on those hormones naturally. I also want to say thank you so much for stopping by and listening into the Essentially You podcast. In the upcoming episode, I'm bringing on a dear friend, Samantha Gladish. She is going to be talking all things hormones with me. She is a wealth of information when it comes to balancing your hormones with delicious food. And you know that is my MO. I love talking about this topic. She and I are going to have such a good time, and we're going to bring on so many simple strategies for balancing your hormones. I know you're going to love it as much as I love talking to her. Well, until then, have an amazing day.